You know, I'm a one trick, I play a lot of League, and I'm pretty good, so I just might be able to get Challenger. Alright guys, what is up? Professor Akali here bringing you a new series. This is going to be my one trick to Challenger series, a rank series in which I exclusively play Akali all the way to the top, dodging if I don't get her. I got this idea from Pantar Dragon, shout out to him for being my favorite League YouTuber by the way, but instead of being a meta slave, we are going to play one of the least meta, lowest win rate champions in League of Legends currently. This series is going to be on my highest ranked account, Best Akali KR, in which I ended Season 6 in Diamond 3. In this series I'm going to show you how I play in high ELO as Akali, and basically just explain my thought processes after the game's end. You as a viewer should be able to learn a lot about how to play Akali at a high level, and watch some pretty entertaining stuff. But anyways, on to episode 1. So we start off this first episode 1-1 in our promos. In this first episode I got pretty tilted at the start, as you will see in a moment. I spot out the enemy team invading, as I do most of the time, because at the start of the game I immediately run through mid to the bottom mid lane brush. This is a great level 1 strategy if you want to save your team the trouble of getting invaded and first blooded. Well, it should be, but apparently not. After the invade, I see Victor running to his mid tower and I think he's caught out, and being the genius I am, I decide to chunk him early in lane to force him to use a potion or be at low health. Well, my brain disconnects after I Q auto him and I keep auto attacking him until I end up borderline intentionally feeding. Kha'Zix makes a comment, but whatever, it's solo queue. That doesn't really tilt me and I kinda deserve it. At the start of the lane, Victor plays really aggressively and ends up blowing through his mana as quickly as I blow through my potions. I eventually get enough harass off and get in his auto range, so I ignite him to burn his flash in exchange, prepping for the level 6 kill and potentially a jungler gank. Here's when things get weird though. He turns around, having no flash and no exhaust since he burned at level 1 to kill me. I actually end up getting a free kill, turning the lane around hard since he did not get first blood, Jinx did. I suppose Victor's brain disconnected too since he's not a bad player. He ended last season in Diamond 2 and is currently Diamond 4 as the video is being made. Anyways, we get the kill and recall, and great news, have just enough gold to get an early Hextech Revolver. Always great to get one early, but it really doesn't mean much until we hit level 6, because since this is pretty high rank, Victor's probably way too smart to let me get free Q autos off, unless either he knows he will be able to get a more favorable trade-off, or he's just baiting my engage because the jungler is waiting to gank me. Anyways, we play safe and farm from a distance just like we would had we not got that free kill, and I ping my jungler to gank because Victor is now overextended hard with no flash. Some stuff goes on near Dragon and I'm just sitting here mid desperately trying to reach level 6 since I'm so close. I hit level 6 and immediately start running bot lane to try to get a kill, even dashing onto Scuttles to get there as fast as possible, which I'm not so sure was worth it, but probably. Victor gets in my Shroud Blink ult range, so what do? I Shroud Blink and use my basic Akali combo on him. I pick up the kill, flash my Mastery 7, and tax a few CS before I head back to mid because I'm an evil person, shove the wave, and look to recall. I get back to mid and this is where I make my first mistake. I see my team invading their blue side jungle, and I see Victor shoving wave and roaming to kill them. I immediately ping my team back, and ping that Victor is missing. Not only did my pings not work and Victor ended up getting an assist, I also revealed the fact that I was ELO boosted from silver by spam pinging so much. I must have messed up and I probably shouldn't have pinged my team at all. By the way, I'm sure it's pretty clear, but this is 100% sarcasm. Always spam ping anything important to make sure your team gets the memo. Oh yeah, I also turned on the spider ganking me while getting attacked by the bug on my team, literally being raided by bugs on both sides. Moving on, I'm pretty low after killing Elise, but so is Victor, so I stick around and try to outplay him, being the boosted cocky one trick I am according to the YouTube comments. I go in to make a play and the most unfortunate thing happens. I see he has no mana left, so I go for the big combo into flash to shroud play, so the minions don't murder me, but he actually ends up doing triple his normal auto attack damage as his Thunderlords and Fresh Blood Masteries pop at the worst time possible. I pretty much scream no damn it at the top of my lungs while contemplating running it down mid. Anyways, while I'm dead, Kha'Zix suicides onto the low Victor, trading a jungle for jungle kill, giving Victor yet another assist. I shove mid, I finally end up muting him after 10 minutes, and then I go to work on the mid lane tower until Victor shows up. Afterwards, I try to gank my own lane to compensate for my Kha'Zix, end up getting counter ganked as Elise ganked the ganker. Victor ends up burning his exhaust and his ult, and I just casually walk away. Victor ends up going back to mid to farm and my team catches out a squishy Elise. It turns into a 4v3 and I'm desperately trying to connect with one of the squishy enemies, whether it's bot or jungle, for some free gold and a bounty hunter stack. We end up getting a Q auto off right before Jinx rides the portal, but unfortunately the big bug takes the kill. All good though, just happy to get an assist and take down her 2 kill streak bounty. We go back to mid, and whenever I know I can take a good trade by proccing my revolver, I go for the small trades to work the enemy laner down so I can eventually dive them when my ignite or revolver comes back up again. But something to quickly note is that I will never do this in high elo unless I know I can't get ganked, as obviously dashing right next to the enemy tower leaves me extremely overextended. I only did it this time because I knew Elise was bot lane after those shenanigans a few seconds ago. I end up shoving the wave and pressuring a dive, forcing him to miss a cannon and 3 extra CS, which is always nice, and looking back at the replay I see Elise briefly on the minimap looking to gank me from behind. Anyways, I go for the dive because my ignite just came back up, and I know I have enough damage to kill him even without my revolver. The tower actually ended up doing more damage than I thought, and I almost made an insane escape too. You'd think that the tower shot would kill me for sure, but thanks to ignite killing Victor as the final turret shot flew in the air, and because I have my passive heal and a vamp scepter, I ended up healing and staying alive after having only 46 health before the healing. Another almost epic play happens, as I hopelessly turn on Elise to try and maybe kill her if she misclicks or something, but I actually think I would have killed her if my revolver was up, but unfortunately it was just a few seconds from being up again. But yeah, when people ask me how playing Akali hasn't gotten boring after so many games, this is why. This type of stuff happens every game when you play an extremely aggressive playstyle on an all-in assassin like Akali. There is so much room to outplay opponents, and if Westrice can go on a 9 kill streak in Challenger playing Akali, then she really can't be too bad of a pick. Anyways, moving on, I head back to mid lane to farm, see Elise and Victor going to dive my bot lane, so I immediately ping and start roaming over to help my team. They fail the gank, Gnar teleports in, and because of my incredible burst, the fact that they are so squishy and some are weakened, and because I'm a cocky one-trick, I instantly start thinking Quadra baby! Unfortunately, they all turn on me and Victor even ults me, so I only get 1 kill, but like I always say, free gold is free gold. Speaking of free gold, Elise decides to get a little too cocky for our control ward, and I end up shroud blinking sideways to dodge her cocoon, looking like a noob in doing so, but it's okay because I'm Akali with 3 dashes and a flash to go with my blink. She ends up flashing my first ult, and thanks to Riot's spaghetti code, I auto-attack her even though I'm clearly supposed to be stunned. I actually ended up duoing with this Elise right afterwards, and we were both laughing about how bull that glitch was. After that Elise kill, I go back and get a huge power spike. Akali, as you guys know or will come to know, does a ridiculous amount of damage and burst when she gets her first item Gunblade. I end up taking blue buff, and of course Kha'Zix pings me away from it, which actually kinda gave me a sadistic pleasure taking what he believes to be his blue. I go top and look to get a dive off on Aurelia, but she plays way too safe, so I just give up and go back to mid. I spot out Elise, I see her small health bar and think, free gold baby! I've killed enough AP Elise's mid game in my day to know that she was gonna get one shot. Even igniting her was probably overkill, but what can you do? Gnar and I go onto Aurelia, and it looks like she will die too for a clean 2-0 trade, when suddenly, Gnar stops his auto attacks and begins to hop around. I'm not so sure I would have lived even if he didn't hop, but it always sucks to be on the losing end of such a close fight. I end up going for Lich Bane as a second item just to test it out, but honestly because of their team comp, as long as I dodge Elise Cocoon with one of my million dashes, it should be a pretty solid purchase as they won't be able to reveal me in Shroud. I see a lot of action and I look to take mid tower, hoping that Victor was also heading to bot lane to join the fight, making this tower free. Funny enough, we both appear mid at the same time, he sees me and does a quick 180, but thanks to my tier 2 boots and Shroud Blink, I'm able to catch up to him and collect my free gold and Victor's soul. I desperately try to shove out mid to do some damage to the mid tower while I know the enemy team is at Dragon, but the minion wave gets stuck in the most awkward spot where I as a melee champion would have to take several tower shots to clear the rest of the wave, which I didn't want to do since the enemy team was close by and I may want to or need to fight my way out of the enemy team's side of the map. But hey, I at least queue a minion on the way out so the enemy team ends up losing the 3 CS to the tower. Quickly check the red, nope it's not up. I head over to the top lane and see there's a red plant, so I figure I might as well jump over to golems and take them on the way, but unfortunately the butthole takes most of the gold from the golems, and we do end up seeing Aurelia, but unfortunately because of this butthole's indecisiveness, she spots the bug and starts running away. No problem though, this is low diamond and Greed manages to get the best of Aurelia and I pick up a free kill. Kha'Zix also manages to jump onto Bard to get a Q off that's the range of an anti-auto attack. At this point, my team is thinking, let's go boys, dive them 3v5, dive them mid, and I'm thinking, I see a free top lane tower. I managed to get a second tower, but then I die. Oh well, still worth. I did immediately run away after taking the tower after all. I now have Lich Bane, and I head bot lane to one-shot Bard or Jinx. With my Gunblade and flash cooldowns ready, it should be pretty easy to get a free kill. On the way to bot lane, I see Aurelia is top, and both Elise and Victor are mid, so I know that bot lane turret is free, as the Fed Akali can definitely 2v1 Jinx Bard. Jinx doesn't show up in time, so I force the tower down and look to plot my next assassination attempt on the juicy AD carry with red buff. Here's when things get weird though. Well played to her though, she ended up buying a 20-minute Hex Drinker. Because of the MR and shield she got from it, I was thrown off pretty hard. I was completely fine with her using flash and heal. It really didn't matter to me as I had way too much damage for her to live through it, but what got me was the fact that she didn't die as fast as she should have, and that Hex Drinker pop right before she would have died really got me. A huge misstep by me. I should have checked her items to see if she had one, but even then it technically ended up being worth it as we traded a kill for kill, 2 summoners for 2 summoners, but we got that extra 150 gold bounty off of Jinx as well. After that 1-for-1 against Jinx, I head towards Baron to set my control ward down and potentially sneak an early Baron, but I see that they have recently taken scuttles, so instead I look to set a deep ward, see that there's a vision plant, use the vision plant, see that there's a blue trinket ward I can kill, then I find Jinx and Bard at golems, and I look to 2v1 them knowing that I would win a 2v1, but Aurelia happens to be at golems as well. I really didn't expect Aurelia to be there because it doesn't make sense for her to be there, but I suppose it is my fault for engaging alone without vision. I do my usual Akali combo on her, and what really sucks though is Akali does have this shroud bug that caused me to end up dying. Right after I used my E, I pressed S and stood still, but I was unable to go back to invisibility, causing me to die before Redemption could heal me, and my nearby team could collapse on the enemies, turning it into a 3v5. Really unfortunate, because besides Jhin playing too aggressively in this fight, my team played perfectly but we ended up getting aced. Coming back alive, I decided to pressure bot lane hard as in an attempt to get the entire enemy team to rotate bot lane to stop me from taking inhib tower while my team can go for Baron. It almost ends up working, but the enemy team engages on us, Kha'Zix gets sniped by Jinx Rocket, and I end up dying in my shroud to the enemy team's Redemption and Red Smite. I think jumping on Aurelia might have been a bit too ambitious, I just couldn't find Jinx anywhere to flash ult on her. The enemy team kites back, hits a cocoon onto our Jhin, and unfortunately got a well played ace. They end up getting Baron, and I end up dying again immediately after, but not before getting the enemy inhibs tower to 1 hit from dead. That sucks, but hey, we have Rabadons now, time to one-shot some squishy champions, aka their whole team other than Aurelia. We do a small dragon dance near Infernal Drake. I see Elise is caught out, so I immediately jump on her. Because of their team comp, they really can't do anything about it, as long as I get into my shroud right after my combo. Victor ends up getting split off, the Kha'Zix jumps onto the Elise too, and we end up killing Jinx and Elise, their 2 most fed champions. After that, the enemy team didn't get the memo that it's a 3v5, and I end up flanking them from behind. I didn't really mind jumping into them since it was a 3v5, and I had my shroud up, just in case they wanted to turn on me. Kha'Zix picks up the kill on Victor, I chase down the Bard and kill him, and eventually my team ends up killing Aurelia for the clean ace. We only end up getting 1 mid lane tower out of it, but hey, it's better than nothing. We have the Void Staff now, and I'm ready to actually one-shot anyone. Heading back to mid, Victor overextends and offers to be my first target. I try to kill Elise too, but I actually managed to misclick my Q auto hard, meaning instead of her dying, I die. Not to worry though, this is solo queue, and even though Elise is half health and it's a 4v4, the enemy team decides to siege mid. Bard gets caught out, then Elise gets caught out, and then Aurelia gets caught out. After all the violence ends, I let my team know that we can do Baron, as Kha'Zix does a ton of damage to Baron and can definitely stick around to do it even though he's kinda low. My team agrees with me, I meet up with them for the Baron, Victor suicides, and we end up getting the Baron plus a free kill. But since Jhin was dead, my team is chunked, and we all have a lot of gold, we decide to go back before using our Baron buff to push. I tell everyone to go bot lane for a push, since Jhin was already there and Gnar can split push top. However, Aurelia went top to deal with Gnar, and I quickly realized that between our squad of Akali, Kha'Zix, Janna, and Jhin, we have close to 0 siege potential. Literally after watching them clear the first wave bot, I realized there's absolutely nothing we could do about it, so I tell my team, let's get pressure on 3 different lanes. Being Akali, I have a ton of damage and 1v2 potential, especially with 14 kills on an AP build versus no Lee Sin or other stealth revealing champions. Unfortunately, my team disagrees with me and my support and AD carry roam mid with me. Fortunately though, this is solo queue, and instead of waiting out Baron like they should have, Aurelia and Elise engage on my Gnar, Janna and Jhin go to help them out, and I feel like there's a good chance that this part of the jungle I'm in isn't warded, so I try to predict Jinx's rotation. I shroud blank into the enemy team's base, derp there is no Jinx, but hey, there's an AP Elise instead. My team and I pick up the double kill, and I make a 20 IQ flash play, a flash that is probably worse than when a bronze player tries to flash away from a Caitlyn ult with no team around. It's all good though, we have Baron buff, we have a minion wave, their base is going down. I try to kill Jinx to secure the win. Kappa, no, just kidding, I really just wanted to kill her for fun. But end up getting denied by Bard, but it's okay because Challenger Kha'Zix is on the case. And after my team farms up their KDA, we end up winning a clown fiesta of a game. With that win, we are now 2 wins and 1 loss in our promos. Now, looking back at the script, I don't plan on writing out a 5-page story for every game. I think I just got a little bit too excited over the new series. Here, just look at the next game. We play against a Diamond 5 Ahri one-trick, and like all one-tricks apparently, she plays too cocky and too aggressively in lane, shoving me in and harassing me under tower with no wards. Well, what happens when you're duoed with a Diamond 1 Elise main? You get ganked for playing like that. Ahri gives me the first blood, and from there I know this game is going to be a great time. Ahri actually misplayed there too. She should have saved her flash for when Elise goes into Cocoon. That way she would have only had to lose her flash instead of losing her flash and first blood. Anyways, I get my revolver early again, go back into lane, and play the same way I always do as Akali Pre-6 against ranged champions. After making sure to farm the cannon minion, and right before my burst passive fades, I jump onto Ahri, auto-E her to proc Thunderlords and revolver, and immediately Shroud Blink sideways to dodge her charm. She ends up using her charm, and from there I continue to pounce on her, almost killing her, but unfortunately she is the only other champion with 3 dashes. I started yelling no until my duo Elise was forced to smash her headset to avoid going deaf, but fortunately Jace roamed at the perfect time and sniped Ahri over the wall. Back to mid lane, we do the usual, farm, look to roam, farm, look to roam, until there's some action at Dragon. Bard actually gets caught out, but the thing is, once again, Akali is so strong from level 6 to late game that it didn't even matter. After all, Bard is just a support, and to top it off, Ahri ignited him, wasting the cooldown. With this knowledge, we go in for the engage, outnumbered, and end up losing Dragon, but getting a 3-for-0 kill trade. After a bit more farming, we managed to get an extremely early gunblade only 11 minutes in. To get so much damage early game from an item active is truly an amazing thing. With my first gunblade active, I forced Ahri to use her ult, and with my second gunblade active, we managed to get 3 kills for 1 at Dragon Pit. After that trade at Dragon, I eventually recall, pick up tier 2 boots, and beg my jungler over voice comms to help me get Rift Herald. Akali with Rift Herald is pretty much an unstoppable force until late game if she gets ahead, as her kit already allows her to 1v2 and 1v3 with ease. Adding Rift buff on top of Akali being fed early is what I would consider to be GG if I was a cocky one-trick, but since I am a cocky one-trick, yeah, it's definitely GG, especially when your team is pretty reliable, being that they are diamond players and aren't too likely to screw everything up. Anyways, we head top to split push, but get spooked by a dank Fizz gank. As I exit tower range, I burst him on the way out, preparing to dive him once my cooldowns are up again. I ult next to him to keep up with him, but make sure not to attack him when under the tower, until my cooldowns are back up so I can finish off the kill. Ahri manages to combo me with her ult WQ, but I managed to somehow get away with around 60 health. That is, until I start greedily taking the tower like a moron, and then Hussein Bolt charges at me with 1000 movement speed. Fortunately, my team took advantage of the enemy team being top, and they managed to take the mid lane tower. What they should have done at this point is to take Dragon, as you see Elise spamming it in the chat, but because this is solo queue, they decide to try to get more kills next to the enemy base. Normally this wouldn't work if the enemy team pathed correctly, but because this is solo queue, my team actually manages to get 2 more kills, and we get the Dragon. After all that, I go back to top lane to do split pusher things, go for the top lane tower again, and I end up overstaying to get the tower, knowing there's a good chance I'll die for it, because I think it's worth trading my life for the tower. Fizz ends up showing too late, I go for the tower, then jump on him since he's only got armor, and obviously I'm mostly magic damage. Janna exhausts too late, and I managed to kill Fizz, and I think I might have killed Twitch too, had he not used both of his summoners. Anyways, I end up dying, trading my life for a tower as well as 3 summoners. Definitely worth. And then I jump in too deep and basically suicide. And then I suicide again, but not before killing Fizz at the expense of both my summoners and my own life. After 2 suicides in a row, I head over to Baron as I see Jace got caught out and a fight is erupting. I manage to assassinate Ahri and get away from Twitch and Janna, but what do? That's right, I suicide. I really have no clue what I was thinking there. Kha'Zix may have been right about me belonging in silver after all. Anyways, my team manages to kill their Janna and Twitch 3v3, and we pick up the mid inhib. I call for my team to do Baron on the way out, but Jace ends up calling to go for the win, saying he can TP in chat. Definitely not a good idea. Elise and I were very skeptical about the play, but they decide to go for it. Luckily, because this is solo queue, Ahri and Fizz go in way too early before Olaf has a chance to engage or even be in the fight. They both die, Caitlyn manages to kite back Olaf and he also dies, and we push for the Nexus. Twitch and Janna come alive. Twitch gets caught out by a Caitlyn trap and still manages to kill Elise while Janna dies to Jace, and at this point my team's starting to run away because they're afraid of getting aced by Twitch. Meanwhile, Elise and I are pinging the Nexus furiously because we can see that Twitch just had a Janna shield and actually has very low health. Caitlyn and Jace end up healing off the mid lane wave, and after a pretty insane series of events, we managed to win game 2 of this episode, putting us at 3 wins and 1 loss for the promos. Anyways guys, that's going to end it for this episode. I know I have a lot of work to do. I'm going to be watching this one back to see what I can improve on. Also, if you guys could please leave comments as to what you enjoyed about this and what you think I should do better, that would really help me out a lot. As always, please leave a like if you enjoyed and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.